All right, Nick, let's talk about Kansas City Chiefs. As we're legally obligated to say, they are the reigning, defending Super Bowl champions. This is one of the hottest teams in the NFL. I think they're going to be very good for years to come. But I have a report today about a reason of why the Chiefs are really smart, because that's what we love on this channel, Nick. We love teams that make really smart moves, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs continually do to make themselves annual perennial Super Bowl contenders, and they've made a smart move that I think could end up paying off for them in the long run if it pans out.
Yeah, Miles, I agree with you 100%. The Chiefs do a lot of smart things, put themselves in a lot of good positions. They get a lot of young players, put them in good spots to do amazing things and potentially break out. And that leads me to my question today for you Chiefs fans to answer in the comment section below. As we're getting ready for 2023, you guys have seen the Chiefs so far through mini camps, OTAs. You've seen some guys on offense, defense, special teams. You're starting to see what this team's going to look like. So in the comment section below, give us your breakout candidate for the Kansas City Chiefs. Could be a rookie, could be a new guy they added through free agency, or just a guy who's been on the second string, third string, but he's going to take advantage of his opportunity coming now to become a breakout player. But whoever it is, give us your breakout candidate for the 2023 Kansas City Chiefs in the comment section below. Brian Miles, what you got? What's the latest out of Kansas City?
Yeah, Nick, we all know the Chiefs' offense is probably set for the rest of their lifetime with Patrick Mahomes, because he can make anybody into a superstar. He makes anyone look really, really good. So we'll focus on the defensive side of the ball today. And we know that defense is the other piece to the team that helps win championships. It's ever so important. And now in the ever-growing passing-centric NFL, cornerback play is very, very necessary. The Chiefs have two good ones last year. They drafted Trent McDuffie. He was phenomenal last year. And L'Jarius Sneed as well is a great player. But Nick, guys get older and guys need to get paid, and it gets more expensive to have guys that come into their next contract. That's why I think it's good to have a plethora of rookie talent coming onto this team that you can develop and make into a solid starter. And that's why we have today, Nick, is a story about a potential breakout year 2 candidate in the cornerback position for the Kansas City Chiefs. And I'll get into that article right now. This is over on Arrowhead Report on the Fan Nation section. It says, with the 135th selection in the 4th round, the Chiefs selected Joshua Williams, a cornerback from Fayetteville State University. Williams was the first HBCU player selected in the 2022 draft after finishing his senior season with 31 tackles, 3 interceptions, and 6 pass breakups. Williams was invited to the Senior Bowl and NFL Combine, and he impressed the Chiefs enough to take him earlier than many predicted. It was an up-and-down rookie season for Williams, but there were glimpses of promise in there through the peaks and valleys. Veach and company relied heavily on the 2022 rookie class, and Williams stepped up when it was asked of him. He was one of 6 rookies on the defensive side of the ball to get regular playing time with the Chiefs throughout the season, and Williams is one piece of a young core of secondary players that the Chiefs are hoping continue to grow and become a top unit in the NFL. Having a secondary full of players on rookie deals will help the team be able to make moves to keep this Super Bowl window open for several more years with this core of players. And that is what I was alluding to, Nick. That is the key here. If the Chiefs can continue to develop these guys, obviously Trent McDuffie, superstar in the making. He looked very, very good last year, 74.9 PFF grade, very solid. And then they have the young Jalen Watson as well. You add in Williams, this could be a very young and very cheap secondary for the Chiefs. I think L'Jarius Sneed is a very good option for the Chiefs as well, but nonetheless, Nick, he's going to get pricey if he keeps playing very, very good and could work himself off of this team just by being too expensive alone. That's why I think in comes Joshua Williams, a guy who was very, very promising early on in the season, had flashes, as they said, all throughout last season, and now is making himself into this season being another promising player. And I want to read one more comment before I hear your thoughts on this, Nick. This was from last year's OTAs talking about Williams and how much he impressed the Kansas City Chiefs. He said the best player at practice on Thursday was 4th-round cornerback Joshua Williams. He had several impressive one-on-one reps, intercepted Henne during the team period, and broke up many passes on 7-on-7. So, Nick, this guy really is primed to break out. He's a big, strong cornerback, 6'3". He puts length and size into that role. So I think this guy is perfectly set up for a breakout role with the Chiefs. But before I hear your thoughts, Nick, I want everyone to stay tuned to the end of the video to hear a word from our partner, and that is Neuro. They have a lot of great products to give you a good boost of energy, keep your levels up, keep your energy up. And that is how we do it. We take their mints or gums right before the show to give you the good Chiefs content that you love. So make sure to stay tuned to the end of this video to hear more about Neuro and their products and to get your hands on our discount code. But all right, Nick, tell me what you're thinking about the Kansas City Chiefs.
So when it comes to Williams, this is a kid, right? Obviously coming from an HBCU small school, the biggest question mark, he has a lot of physical tools, has moments, is does he have the mental acuity to handle being an NFL corner? And that's a real challenge, right? It's similar to being an offensive lineman, especially an offensive tackle, because you're going to get your butt handed to you a lot in the NFL in these kind of situations. Obviously in today's passing game, you're going to get flagged for a lot of penalties from a defensive back perspective. You're going to get beat for a lot of big plays. It's just the way it is. It's how do you overcome adversity? How do you have that mental toughness? And this kid, minus to a T, embodies mental toughness. Against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the divisional playoff round, he played a total of 3 snaps. He was essentially benched, right? So in a situation like that, you got a young kid benched, rookie situation, the Chiefs going on a Super run. The next week in the conference championship game, he had 59 snaps, graded out over 70 according to PFF. That's a very solid performance, was involved with a turnover as well in that game, was a clutch player. That's what I love about this kid. There's not a lot of guys, even veterans, who get benched for 3 snaps one week in the playoffs, and they can come off the next week, play 50-plus snaps, and have a quality game and be involved with a key turnover. That's what I like to see. That's a mental toughness that shows that this is a guy who can overcome getting beat. He can overcome, giving up a big play, maybe getting called for a big penalty, maybe even having a bad game or a bad month and still hanging with it enough to make big plays down the stretch. Because we know this Chiefs offense, like you alluded to, Miles, they're going to score enough points to beat virtually anybody. They just need the defense to come up with a few key stops, a few key turnovers. We saw it, of course, in the Super Bowl. We saw it, of course, in frankly every playoff victory this past season for the Chiefs. If they can get enough stops, enough turnovers, Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, and company will handle everything on the offensive side of the ball. And this is a guy here who understands that, Williams. This is a guy who knows, hey, listen, if I get beat for a big play, that's fine. I'm going to come back and get the stop on 3rd down. Or if I get a big penalty, that's okay. I'll get an interception off a deflection later in the game. I love that mental toughness from cornerbacks. Those are the kind of guys you need, especially like you alluded to, Miles, if he's not your number 1 lockdown corner. Because look, if he's your number 1 guy, you want him to be consistent. That way, a guy you can rely on. I obviously think McDuffie, I think they're hoping he can grow into that role. I think he will. But having a number 3 or number 4 corner, be a kind of playmaker, a guy who understands, look, I'm going to be put in some tough situations. A lot of people are going to try and scheme to get their best guy on me, and I'm going to get beat sometimes. But you know what? To have the mental toughness to come back and make big plays later in the game or later in the season is exactly what you want from a corner. But how about this kid, Miles, comes from a small HBCU school, not being scared at all of the bright lights of the NFL, stepping up right away. He reminds me a little bit of Malcolm Butler, famously with the New England Patriots, was a West Alabama guy, I believe, D2 school, comes into the Patriots, gets some playing time. Obviously, it's the famous pick against the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I think this is one of those same kind of guys, one of those classic Patriots players from that era, small school guys who step up, get put in strong positions, and really become clutch players. I think Williams is under that same mold, and I think it will have a big impact for the Chiefs for those reasons and all the reasons you mentioned as well.
All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner in today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.